I consider myself a pretty good example of someone who was a very reluctant human for a very long time. But these days, I can genuinely say that I love being human, no matter how hard it is. So here is my who am I. I was technically started on a bolt of lightning, true story, but let's just speed through the narrative a bit. I was a typical undiagnosed neurodivergent kid. I lost my mom early, and I grew up in a household shaped by hypervigilance. My childhood was uniquely suited, though, to incubate some otherworldly capabilities. I saw things happening that I couldn't explain away, subtleties that no one else seemed to point out, and they moved me, and they changed me. These were patterns within patterns showing up as energies, images, feelings, dreams, sounds. I could feel them with my hands. I could sometimes see them and hear them. But for a long time, I ignored how much they were shaping my assessment in life, especially because I started off my adult life as a scientist, arguably not a very good one. I am not well suited for tedium. I went to Carnegie Mellon. I got a degree in chemistry, biomedical engineering, and international relations, some additional majors, some minors, whatever. Because I couldn't decide what I wanted to do, I just wanted to do it all, so I did. I traveled. I was privileged enough to be able to work as a scientist, a bookkeeper, an herbalist. I did invasive species management. I was a homesteader, which meant that I was also a carpenter, a gardener, electrician, cook, bottle clerk, whatever that saying is, and even a professional musical theater actor in my tiny tourist town. But the patterns that I saw never went away. They only got louder. And then I had kids, and that made them absolutely impossible to ignore. So I started talking about them first with businesses and projects that I was working for. I was a project manager, a controller, a VP of operations, and I'd rearranged the systems in those companies to allow energy to move more freely and efficiently. And then naturally, this ability evolved to people. And that's where the patterns were the strongest, actually, that the images sprang up around people, and I could see the holographic nature of us that shifted depending on the altitude and the view that we were looking at and the different perspectives. And I was able to offer people helpful perspectives. So I extended my unique ability to create a different perspective into seeing movies, TV, characters, songs, which I am endlessly passionate about, so it makes a lot of sense. So now I act as a guide on people's unique spiritual journeys, helping them to see their patterns too, and see the patterns that are all around them. That's what the second path guide reference in my bio means. The first path is through the miraculous moments, sudden insights, psychic readings, things delivered by another being, another person. And the second path is when you start to facilitate your own journey. You learn the tools of the human body, the ability to sense subtle fields, see patterns, unlock intuition, and regulate the nervous system to connect with others. So in my practice, I use lucid dreaming, remote viewing, OBEs, guided meditations, group coherence, my inner villain system, and I give these and I help my clients to learn them so that together we can unlock abundance, process grief, manifest, generally just kind of get happier and cultivate what I like to call the effortless path. Because ultimately, when we look closely, we can start to see how love is reaching out to us through every medium we create. Art, song, character arcs, interactions, life, and sometimes love turns up as blocks, anger, hate, shadow, depression, anxiety. So we meet it, we transmute it, we integrate it. That's why I'm here. That's the short version of who I am, because I'm always trying to build a bridge. And right now, I'm doing it with songs that move us all. So I'm Kristina Wiltsee from Beyond.